I never thought I'd feel this way again. For years, my life has been about survival, raising 2 kids on my own, keeping food on the table, and holding everything together when it felt like the world wanted me to fall apart. Love, passion, romance, those were luxuries I didn't have time for. Then Micheal moved into the apartment complex, and everything began to change. It started innocently enough. He was the charming new neighbor, always quick to smile and offer a helping hand. At first, I thought nothing of it. Men like Micheal, with their easygoing charm and quiet confidence, weren't the type to stick around. But then, he did. He became part of our lives, little by little, in ways I didn't even notice until it was too late to imagine life without him. Micheal had a way of seeing me that no one else did. Not just as a mother or a woman burdened by responsibilities, but as me. When he laughed at my jokes or looked at me like I was the most captivating person in the room, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, wanted. It scared me, how much I wanted him back. One evening, the kids were at my parents' house for the weekend, and Micheal came over to fix a broken cabinet door. He stayed longer than usual, and before I knew it, we were sitting on the couch, drinking wine and talking about everything and nothing. He leaned in, his dark eyes locking onto mine. "Sophia," he said softly, "if I'm reading this wrong, tell me to stop." I didn't stop him. I couldn't. When our lips met, it was like something inside me finally broke free. His kiss was gentle at first, almost tentative, but it quickly deepened, igniting a fire that had been dormant for far too long. I let him pull me closer, his hands tracing the curve of my waist as if memorizing every inch of me. I wanted him in ways I couldn't put into words. We barely made it to the bedroom. The moment felt surreal, intense, passionate, and yet so natural, as though this was always meant to happen. Micheal was patient, attentive, and utterly captivating. He didn't just touch my body, he touched something deeper, something I'd locked away long ago. When it was over, we lay tangled in each other's arms, the room filled with the quiet hum of our breathing. "I'm not just here for this," he murmured, his lips brushing my forehead. "I'm here for you." And I believed him. The next night, everything unraveled. A knock at the door pulled me from my thoughts. Micheal went to answer it, his expression shifting when he saw who stood on the other side. My heart sank as he turned to me. "It's Alex," he said. I froze. Alex. My ex-husband. The man who had walked out on me and the kids 2 years ago. I hadn't seen him since the day he handed me divorce papers, his face a mix of guilt and indifference. Now he was standing in my doorway, looking soaked from the rain and oddly determined. "Can we talk?" he asked, his voice softer than I remembered. "What are you doing here, Alex?" I asked, my arms crossing over my chest. He sighed, running a hand through his wet hair. "I made a mistake, Sophia. Leaving, it was the biggest mistake of my life. I want to come back. I want to be there for you and the kids." I stared at him, the weight of his words crashing down on me. Once upon a time, I would have begged to hear him say those things. But now, all I felt was anger and confusion. "You don't get to come back like nothing happened," I said, my voice trembling. "Do you have any idea what you put us through?" "I know," he said, his voice breaking. "I was scared. I wasn't ready. But I'm ready now. I couldn't take it anymore." "Micheal," I said, my voice firm, "can you give us a moment?" Micheal hesitated, his eyes searching mine. Finally, he nodded and stepped into the kitchen. Alex stepped closer, his gaze pleading. "Sophia, I love you. I never stopped. Please, let me fix this." But as I looked at him, all I could think about was Micheal, the way he made me feel alive, cherished, and safe. "I need time," I said finally. "I'll let the kids decide if they want to see you, but this doesn't mean we're getting back together." Alex nodded, though I could see the disappointment in his eyes. "I'll do whatever it takes," he said before leaving. That night, Micheal stayed. He didn't push me to talk, didn't demand answers. He just held me, his quiet presence grounding me in a way I desperately needed. "I don't know what to do," I admitted, tears spilling over. "You don't have to figure it all out tonight," he said softly. "Just know that I'm here. Whatever you decide, I'm not going anywhere." His words were a lifeline, a reminder that I wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, I sat the kids down and told them the truth. Their father wanted to see them. "Do you want to see him?" I asked gently. My son shrugged, his expression unreadable. My daughter bit her lip, her eyes filling with tears. "Why now?" she whispered. I didn't have an answer for her. All I could do was promise that whatever they decided, I would be there to support them. When I called Alex later, I made my expectations clear. "If you're serious about being in their lives, you need to prove it," I said. "This isn't about us, it's about them." That evening, Micheal and I sat on the couch, the weight of the day pressing down on us. "Thank you," I said softly, my voice barely above a whisper. "For what?" he asked, his dark eyes searching mine. "For being patient. For staying." Micheal cupped my face, his gaze filled with a tenderness that brought tears to my eyes. "I love you, Sophia," he said, his voice steady. "No matter what happens with Alex, I'm not going anywhere." I leaned into him, our foreheads touching. For the first time in years, I allowed myself to believe that maybe, just maybe, love could be something more than heartbreak. And as his lips met mine, I knew that whatever the future held, Micheal was the anchor I never knew I needed. As I stand at the kitchen counter, staring blankly at the half-empty cup of coffee in my hands, the house was quiet eerily, so without Michael's presence, the kids were at school and for the first time in what felt like forever, I was completely alone, but my thoughts weren't quiet. They were filled with him. It had only been 3 days since Micheal left, giving me space to process Alex's sudden reappearance, yet it felt like eternity. Every corner of my home reminds me of him, his deep laugh echoing in the living room, the scent of his cologne lingering fainting on the throw blanket we had shared, and the way he would run his fingers absent-mindedly through my hair when we watched movies together. My body ached with longing in a way I hadn't experienced before, my skin tingled as if his touch still lingered, ghostly and maddeningly out of reach. I closed my eyes, and my mind conjured the memory of his hands, large and capable, yet so gentle when they caressed me. As I sat alone in the silence of the house, I realized that my desire for him was more than just lust. It was an all-encompassing need, a craving for the connection we shared. On the evening of the 3rd day, I couldn't take it anymore. I had told Micheal I needed time to think, but every moment without him had only clarified one thing: he was the man I wanted, the man I need. My feelings for Alex were tangled in the past, in the pain of abandonment and the echoes of what could have been. But Micheal was my present. My future. That realization hit me like a storm. I couldn't wait for him to come. I need to see him now. When I stood at Michael's door that evening, my heart felt like it might pound right out of my chest. I hadn't planned what to say, hadn't even thought it through. All I know was that I needed him, more than I ever needed anyone. When he opened the door, his dark eyes widened in surprise, and for a moment, I forgot how to breathe. His presence overwhelmed me, as it always did, but this time it was different. This time I wasn't holding back. "Sophia," he said, his voice low and hesitant, as if he wasn't sure I was real. "What are you?" I couldn't wait, I blurted, stepping inside. My fingers trembled as I reached for him. "I couldn't stop thinking about you, Micheal. About us." The look on his face, equal parts relief and desire, made my knees weak. "I missed you too," he said, his voice a deep rumble that sent shivers down my spine. I did not let him say more. My hands found his shirt, clutching the fabric as I pulled him down to me. The moment our lips met, I was lost. The kiss was wild, desperate, as though I could pour every ounce of my feelings into that single connection. Micheal didn't hesitate. His arms wrapped around me, holding me close as he guides me into his apartment. I didn't care about the door closing or where we were going. All I cared about was the heat of his body pressed against mine, the way his touch sent sparks racing through me. By the time we reached his bedroom, I was trembling with anticipation. When he laid me down on the bed, his eyes met mine, and the tenderness in his gaze stole what little breath I had left. He touched me like I was something precious, his hands skimming over my skin with reverence. My heart raced as he undressed me, his fingers slow and deliberately, as though he wanted to savor every moment. And I let him. I let him see all of me, let him touch part of me that had long been hidden. Every kiss, every caress lit a fire that only he could ignite. When we came together, it was everything. It wasn't just passion, it was connection, love, and something I couldn't even put into words. My body moved with his as we climbed higher together. Every whisper of my name, every look in his eyes, pushed me further until I couldn't hold back anymore. In that moment, I wasn't just alive, I was free. Free from the pain, the fear, and the walls I'd built around myself. Afterward, we lay tangled in the sheets, his arms wrapped tightly around me. My head rested on his chest, the steady rhythm of his heartbeat soothing the lingering tremor in my body. I love you, I whispered, the words stumbling out before I could stop them. His arms tightened around me, and he tilted my chin up so I could see him. His eyes, filled with an emotion so deep it took my breath away, locked onto mine. I love you to Sophia, he said, his voice soft but firm. More than anything. The tears came then, but they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of joy, of relief, of finally letting go of everything I'd been holding onto for so long. In Micheal's arms, I felt whole. I felt safe. And for the first time in years, I felt like I'd found home, not in a place, but in a person. Please share, subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories. Thank you.